Welcome. Around the world in 15 minutes.
There are trains run by Trenitalia in the direction of Levante running from La Spezia, which can enable one to reach RIOMAGGIORE. Inside RIOMAGGIORE, all major attractions are workable for tourists. RIOMAGGIORE is the most southern village of the 5 Cinque Terre, all connected by trail. The water and mountainside have been declared national parks. RIOMAGGIORE inspired paintings by Telemaco Signorini. The Via dell'Amore is a path connecting RIOMAGGIORE to its Fagioli Manarola, also part of the Cinque Terre. The village, dating from the early 13th century, is known for its historic character and its wine, produced by the town's vineyards. RIOMAGGIORE is in the Riviera di Levante region and is a shoreline on the Mediterranean's Gulf of Genoa, with a small beach and a wharf framed by tower houses. RIOMAGGIORE's main street is Via Colombo, where numerous restaurants, bars, and shops can be found. Palace are situated in the town of Linlithgow, West Lothian, Scotland, 15 miles, 24 kilometers, west of Edinburgh. The palace was one of the principal residences of the monarchs of Scotland in the 15th and 16th centuries. Although maintained after Scotland's monarchs left for England in 1603, the palace was little used, and was burned out in 1746. It is now a visitor attraction in the care of Historic. Hair oil manor existed on the site in the 12th century. This was replaced by a fortification known as the Peel, built in the 14th century by occupying English forces under Edward. The site of the manor made it an ideal military base for securing the supply routes between Edinburgh Castle and Stirling Castle. The English fort was begun in March 1302 under the supervision of 2 priests, Richard de Wimpole and Henry de Grandiston. The architect, Master James of St. George, was also present. In September 1302, 60 men and 140 women helped dig the ditches. The men were paid 12 pence and the women a penny daily. 100-foot soldiers were still employed as laborers on the castle in November, and work continued during the summer at 1303.
In 1424, the town of Linlithgow was partially destroyed in a great fire. King James started the rebuilding of the palace as a grand residence for Scottish royalty, also beginning the rebuilding of the Church of St. Michael immediately to the south of the palace. The earlier church had been used as a storeroom during Edward's occupation. Over the following century, the palace developed into a formal courtyard structure, with significant additions by James III and James IV. James V, who was born in the palace in April 1512, added the outer gateway and the elaborate courtyard fountain. The palace has been actively conserved since the early 19th century and is today managed and maintained by Historic Environment Scotland. The site is open to visitors all year round, usually subject to an entrance fee for non-members, but on occasion the entry fee is waived during the organization's doors open days. In summer, the adjacent 15th century parish church of St. Michael is open for visitors, allowing a combined visit to two of Scotland's finest surviving medieval buildings. The Grampians National Park, also Gariward, commonly referred to as the Grampians, is a national park located in the Grampians region of Victoria, Australia.
When the sun goes down, reality fades away. Go to a place where you belong. And listen when the memories say.
The 167,219 hectare, 413,210 acre, National Park is situated between Stawell and Horsham on the Western Highway and Dunkeld on the Glenorg Highway, 260 kilometers, 160 miles, west of Melbourne and 460 kilometers, 290 miles, east of Adelaide. Proclaimed as a national park on July 1, 1984, the park was listed on the Australian National Heritage List on December 15, 2006 for its outstanding natural beauty and being one of the richest Indigenous rock art sites in southeastern Australia. The Grampians feature a striking series of sandstone mountain ranges.
Listen what the memories say.
The rock material that composes the high peaks is sandstone, which was laid down from rivers during the Devonian period 380 million years ago. This sediment slowly accumulated to a depth of 7 km. This was later raised and tilted for its present form. 40 million years ago the Southern Ocean reached the base of the northern and western base of the mountain range, the deposition from the range forming the seafloor, which is now Little Desert National Park. The highest peak is Mount William at 1167 meters. Numerous waterfalls are found in the park and are easily accessible via a well-developed The Grampians is a famous rock climbing destination, with the first routes being established in the 1960s. Notable routes include the Wheel of Life and Groove Train, which attract world-class climbers. In March 2019, 30% of climbing areas were closed by Parks Victoria due to cultural and ecological concerns, namely bolting, chalk marks, and making access paths through vegetation. It closed 70% of bouldering routes, and 50% of sport climbing. The Peak Tram, Chinese, Cantonese Yale, Sandang Lamsh, is a funicular railway in Hong Kong, which carries both tourists and residents to the upper levels of Hong Kong Island. Running from Garden Road Admiralty to Victoria Peak via the mid-levels, it provides the most direct route and offers good views over the harbour and skyscrapers of Hong Kong. The Peak Tram is owned and operated by Hong Kong and Shanghai Hotels, the owner of Hong Kong's Peninsula Hotel, along with other properties. The line, along with Peak Tower Leisure Complex at the line summit, is promoted using the brand The Peak. Since April 23, 2019, the funicular railway has been temporarily closed for renovation works, in which the rolling stock, rails, cable system and control systems are to be replaced and other infrastructure is to be modified, in order to accommodate more passengers and reduce waiting times. In the absence of tram service, the new world-first bus non-stop route X15 is being operated between Admiralty and the Peak in addition to the regular bus and minibus services, and other temporary traffic measures may be taken. The Peak Tram's route from Central District to Victoria Peak covers a distance of about 1.4 kilometers, 0.87 miles, and an elevation of just under 400 meters, 1,312 feet. The line has two pronounced curves, one to the left immediately after leaving the lower terminus, and the other to the right in the upper half of the ascent. The gradient also varies considerably throughout the ascent. It is a single-track route and the lower terminus station, Garden Road, is located on Garden Road near St. John's Cathedral. The original station was incorporated into St. John's Building, an office tower, with a tram terminus at the ground level. The station comprises a single track, with platforms on both sides. One platform is used for boarding, the other for exiting the tram. See you soon on the next episode.